up on the roof, we have the skiing penguins. And this one, I wanted to kind of do something different. I had the roof, and I wasn't really using it for a display. So we have an animated display here. So this is 16 channel, so the penguins start and they move their way up the roof, and then they ski across, and then they kind of ski back and forth down until they hit that one at the edge, and jump up in the air out to this one, and then finally they land in the tree. And after they're there for a second, the ski poles and skis fall off, they end up down there, and then things slowly fade out and we keep going on. I'll get a little closer to these. I'm going to do the high one. The other one has a tree in the way. Yeah, not enough contrast. Okay, well, I'm going to shoot this low one, even though it doesn't have a full penguin. The penguin designs I did by hand. So I did all the drawing, did all the designs in Fusion 360. And then went out and took them to my laser cutter and cut them. And that did the shape, and that also drilled all the holes for the LEDs. And then all the wiring is hand wired, and each chunk essentially has resistors to set the brightness appropriately. This one has red and blue LEDs, and getting red, blue, and greens that are used elsewhere, and yellows. They all need different resistors. All this is hand wired, and I think there's somewhere around 1,000 or 1,200 LEDs across the whole display. If we look a little bit, this one, so this is a full size, and the full size that I needed is too much to fit in my laser cutter. So you can see there's kind of a puzzle piece shaped thing there. And that is the cut so that I could cut into and then put them together, glue them together with acrylic glue. Let's walk around and kind of look at one of these from behind. Maybe this one would be better. Hard for me to shoot with brightness in the background. I think that one's okay. So there you can see a lot of copper coming in. So in the lower right, there, you see a little connector. So we have the cable coming up to this one. Has a little waterproof connector on it. Then the waterproof connector is soldered in. And then that's connected off to the actual wiring in there. Obvious question, how do I keep these waterproof? These are actually coated with a whole bunch of clear acrylic spray. So I'd spray them from the back, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 times. And that seems to have done pretty well. I don't see much corrosion. This is the second year, and they seem to be going pretty well. If you look at the wiring is actually pretty thin. These are running on 12 volts, and they really just do not pull very much power. What else? There are little tags. I don't know if you can see them there, little labels. There are 16 channels, A through O, and little labels there are little adhesive labels designed to put on wires so you can tell them apart, and then they just have a bit of packing tape wrapped over them to keep them waterproof. So that makes it pretty easy to come back the next year, and kind of plug them together. So all the cables, there's 4 from out front and then 12 from up on the roof, and those come down, hang in the bush here. I'm not very great at this yet. And then in here, power supply, a ESP32 rather than ESP8266. because I needed a lot more channels. And then it has a little couple custom boards I built to control 16 MOSFETs. And one of the really nice parts about the ESP32 is it can do 16 channel PWM dimming in the hardware. So I get all of these set up to do dimming on hardware, and I don't really have to do a ton in the software. And then you can kind of see some more construction with the electrical conduit. That works pretty well, and that kind of lets me hold those guys up. So that is the skiing penguins. Here's a second try at the skiing penguins. I've turned the brightness way down. So come down, jump off the edge, land in the bush, and then the skis and poles fall off. Now watch again. Up the left side. Zoom in a little so we can see them. See if that maybe looks a little better. Getting ready to start, but they go up. That's better. You can actually kind of see the shapes. Down, jumping in the air, landing, and then the skis and poles fall off. So, better view of the penguins.